Hi, team. Welcome to 10 Talks. It's all about transitioning into next, whatever that is, and really rewiring our brains. And we have the journey, the gift of going on the journey with Rye and just getting to be like real inside. What is it like when you transition out of something you've been doing for a long time? You're amazing at it. You intentionally choose that you want to do something different. The idea of transitioning to next sounds like a 10. It's like, yes, that sounds great. And yet we really do have to rewire your brain because it's a muscle and it's trained to do whatever you've been doing forever. And what's so fascinating about transition and rewiring our brain is that we have to really be honoring of respecting that it's something different, because our first response will be, this doesn't feel right, because the muscle is about how it's always been, and it's not necessarily the right muscle for the next that you're doing. So, Rye, here we go. Let's just unpack. Today's conversation is going to be about why we need a day off, the power of rest and recovery, which is going to be a lot about energy and emotional management. So, take us through where you are and what you're learning.
I think we're in week 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's been a long time, Carlette, a long time. But it's been 2 weekends already that I've taken the weekend off. And before, when I thought about taking a day off or taking a break or anything, I would feel guilty about it. And last weekend, when I had my first weekend off, that I did not feel guilty at all. I felt like my whole energy went up to 100 for that Monday.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do the same this weekend. Have a day off of no social media, no phone, just focus, being intentional in what's my 10, what I want to be my 10 for that day. And I woke up this morning with a lot of energy as well. My body feeling so rest and recover that I feel great at the gym. Like, that's the first thing I do to start my week, go to the gym. And I was feeling good. Like, it was a 10 for me. Start my Monday with a high energy level with my body, with my mind, and it was amazing because I didn't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, I deserve to rest and
Yes.
recover, and that will help me to be on my optimal performance for when I go back to work.
So, Rye, what a gift to just really understand the power and the why behind what it is about giving your brain a rest, giving your body a rest, giving your mind a rest, and just most importantly, respecting that if you're going to optimally perform or be competitively great or go for greatness, we have to set our bodies and our minds up for that champion performance. And it starts with our personal life. So let's talk 3D with rest and recovery, personal, professional, and philanthropic. So, personally, it's all about our well being. And really, the desired outcome of that well being is to rest and recover, rejuvenate, really all the good things. Why a day off is all about our personal life. And so many times people don't actually get the full benefit of a day off because they don't necessarily know what to do with it. And so that's where our work is so intentional about you discovering personally what is a 10 for you, you going and statting it up and paying attention to, does this give me energy or does this take energy away? And remember, it's all in your personal life. So many times we're talking about well-being and everybody's, got a lot of conversation about it. We're going to introduce some new thinking that in our three-dimensional model, personal, professional, and philanthropic, personal is about your well-being. Professional is about competitive greatness. It's really where you show up and you perform and you do your job. And then philanthropic is about giving hope. So it's this beautiful combination that's happening every day. It's not that we just do it on a day off. So let's talk about personal weekends and days off and what you discovered about how to find what to do on your days off so that you are discovering your tens, you are getting lots of energy when the habit is to check social media or maybe do a little work or whatever. What tell us about just that battle that you've won.
um it wasn't an easy battle.
Can we just say that because transition is very difficult? Yes.
It wasn't an easy battle at all. And I think us as competitively great athletes that we are and people, everyone is competitively,
Mindset. It's a
yes,
mindset.
and
Yeah.
everyone wants to just keep going, keep going, keep going. And that was me. Like, I didn't know how to stop without feeling guilty. And it
Mm.
was not like stop, leave it. And no, it's just like you have to take a break. Imagine you running every day for 24 hours. That's as soon as you mentioned that to me, it was like, yes, I need to take a break. I need to rest. I need to take my day because if not, I'm not going to last. And that's how I felt in the beginning of the transition. Like I wanted to catch up on everything that I was doing, that I was just like running and running and running and running. I don't need a day off. I can do this. Da 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 da. A good mentality, great, but I ended up a little burnt out that I was like, I cannot look at a screen anymore. So last weekend I was very grateful that you were like, no, take the weekend off. You need your weekend off. And at first I really didn't understand. I was like, oh, but I wanted to do something. Like I need to catch up on this. And as soon as I took it off, we were able to sleep in, go to the beach. Like on my off days, I don't want to have something scheduled.
Perfect. Yes.
I don't want to, like, if we go to the beach, which is 30 minutes away from my house, such a blessing. Let's just, I don't want someone to tell me, no, we're going to the beach at 1 p.m. No,
Right.
I will go to the beach if I can. If I want to go for sunset, I will go for sunset. If I want to spend the whole day, I will spend the whole day, Like I don't want anything to be scheduled.
Mhm.
It's just let's just let the day
Mm.
take you where it takes you. Um, and it's something me and my husband has done before, and it's like it's just a surprise for us. Oh, let's see what we do.
Yeah.
And something that we implemented in our conversation this weekend, Carlette, was, is this a 10 for you?
Yeah.
In our off day.
Mhm.
Is this a 10 for you? Going into this basketball game, is a 10
Mhm.
for you? And we looked at each other, we're like, no. Let's just find something else that is a 10 for us. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think my winning strategy is like not having anything scheduled
Mhm.
for that day and searching what is a 10 for us in our off days.
What's really important from a sports life coaching perspective is to really understand your personal well-being and really your metabolism. So we talk about that competitively great mindset. You found your winning strategy is no schedule, just the joy of the discovery. Like, what do I feel like doing? What all that, it's fabulous. To somebody else, that could be great anxiety to not know what is scheduled or what are we doing. So I want to really just anchor into how personalized this is, that you can't just pick up, okay, days off are going to be just like this, because what works for you doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. What does work is owning that you take responsibility to win your well-being on your personal days with the desired outcome of it rejuvenating you and you being rested and recovered and ready to be competitively great for work, really show up and go to work. And it works, which is fun.
Yes, and I think that's very important. Um, Everyone personally knows what they need, and not because something is working for me doesn't really mean that works for my husband, for example. Um, it's just happened to us having the right conversation,
Mhm.
and since we have our whole week completely scheduled into
Right.
what we are doing individually, when we have our off days, it's just like, let's just take a step back from everything
Yeah.
and let's just the day develop. If we want to stay home, we stay home. If someone invite us and if
Mhm.
it's a 10 for us, we can go.
Yeah.
But I think, and I feel like I'm blessed in that standpoint, that he's also the same and it
Mhm.
also works for him. But yes, like you find what works for you personally, because I don't know, maybe someone else like to have a whole full day schedule of different activities that they want
Right.
to do. Well, I just want to lay home with my dog on my couch, you know?
Well, the gift is having the conversation and using the me cue skill, this skill of really being able to that intelligence of me and me being able to say, here's what's a 10 for me. And you and your partner are doing such a beautiful job of every investment you make with your time, your energy, your emotions, your money, your whatever, is that you're asking the question first. That's the rewiring of the brain. The first thing you're doing is saying, what's our stat on this? 1 is low, 10 is fabulous. And now the two of you get to have a conversation. So if your partner says, this is a 6 for me, and you say, well, it's a 10 for me, now you get to come into conversation about, well, how do we want to honor this? And the great part is that if I'm your partner and I know it's a 10 for you, and it's even like a 2 or a 3 for me, now I don't put my energy into, well, it's a 2 or 3 for me. I hate doing that. I redirect all of my energy to, I love you. If this is what you want, let's do it. And now the energy is a pure energy between the two of us. I'm not faking it. I'm not resentful. I'm not trying to like keep score. We've honored that you now know I'm only doing this because I love you and I'm for you. And so you feel even better. You're like, thank you. I'm loving that you're doing this just for me. So it's such a gift to have that conversation.
Yes, for sure. Not always we're gonna be on the same page, but having the right conversation can take you places. And um you never know. Like that happened this weekend. It was a 10 for me and it was not a 10 for him. And I was like, well, what's gonna be a 10 for you? And he
Mhm.
just told me, and I was like, well, that's gonna be a cardio, but I know eventually it's gonna be a 10 for me.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what ended up happening. I was like, okay, let's do it. Like if it's a
Yeah.
10 for you, I wanna fill myself into the tens.
Yes.
And it ended up being a 10 for me. We had such a fun night with friends that we haven't seen in a long time. And it was just natural. Like
Mhm.
I think in the past I would have been like, oh, but I don't want to do that.
Right.
Oh, you're this way, blah, blah, blah. And I would
Yeah.
have stayed with that thought in my mind the
Mhm.
whole night, versus this time I was like, okay, if it's a 10 for you, then let's do it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be intentional with your 10 because I also want that to be a 10 for me. So
Well,
it was,
that's the rewiring, right? Like you completely changed your thinking using this skill of really being for him and for the two of you. And what a gift in terms of changing the energy, because it wasn't resentful energy. You weren't angry at him or keeping score or being like, well, you owe me because I did this for you.
yeah.
Instead, it's very much, I love you. I'm for you. It's not a 10 for me, but you're a 10. I'm happy to do it. And then I love the result that you ended up having a 10 night.
Yes, investing in our tens is something that we're both taking very seriously. And we even share that with the couple that we went out.
Mhm.
We it was funny. We introduced the 10 moments, and then we introduced the stats, and we explained to him what we were doing and everything that we were learning and everything that I was doing with you. And at the end of the night, the whole conversation turned out to be, is that a 10 for you or not? And it was so much fun. So it ended up being a 10 for me as well.
Well, and it's also so interesting to actually direct conversation to tens, which tens are things that matter to us. It's nothing about perfection. And there's not a right 10. It's like, well, what's a 10 for you? So you actually can go so much deeper and find out the most interesting things about people you've known for a really long time when you ask a different question about, even when you sit down to order, what's a 10 for you? Well, half the time I'm open for trying new things, but the minute I try it, I'm like, "Yeah, not a 10, thank you very much." And I'm happy to run right back to my 10. So, it's just the joy of being on that journey. And most importantly, sharing it with the people that we're sharing our lives with. And I love you bringing them into just understanding it and being on the journey with you. And it's a game changer for just how conversation goes and energy and emotional management.
Yes, especially it just helps you to be intentional with what you're investing, your time, your energy, what you want to do. Like it helps you to live the moment. And before we could have maybe gone with this couple out, but maybe 5 minutes someone was scrolling their phone. It was just like, no, let's just be a 10 in this moment. And it means investing all of us into the situation and be intentional with what we want to live. And a funny story, when we were doing the 10 moments, I asked, he's actually my trainer. We have a really good relationship. And we asked him share a 10 moment. So he shared his 10 moment. And then I was like, okay, now you name that 10 moment.
Mhm.
And he stayed there like 5 full minutes, just like, what am I gonna name my 10 moment? I have no idea. Why should I name it? So I explained the whole thing. After I explained the whole thing, he was like, this shit works. You're naming my 10 moment. Now I think about it all the time that I'm being intentional with what I'm doing. And we were just so happy to share this with them, as well as we are sharing it with the world, that what is a 10 for you completely change our lives, and we keep implementing that even into our rest and recovery.
Well, and right, let's again back to our 3D. So personally, you figured it out in terms of you and your partner being able to just ask that simple question, is it a 10 for you? And if it isn't, what's going to make it a 10 so that you take responsibility for really owning your life and making it what you want, the way you define what a 10 is. Professionally, you felt rested and recovered and ready to come and be competitively great at work, and philanthropically at dinner you were giving hope to the new couple. So that's really where you get to just have that whole person showing up, and it's not this kind of controlled or manipulated or systematic way of doing it. It's just a way of being, and that's where it really fits into that winning well-being, is that personally, I'm going to win for me, which is a 10. Professionally, I'm going to win for my team, which is a 10, and philanthropically for our world. And your world was at the, going out with a couple and giving hope to them.
Yes, and having such a great time. It ended up being a 10 as well for me. So having that in mind, that personally, professionally, especially the philanthropic, at first I didn't really understand what it meant. And when we share about it, people, they all think about, oh, it's donating. We need to
Right.
give money or things like that. And when we brought the new thinking for them to be like, you just give hope,
Mhm.
give hope to people. And at the end of the night, they ended up giving hope to the waitress that was
Yeah.
serving us.
Yeah.
And by telling them such a how everything that she did was just like on point, and she just felt loved in that moment because she was so stressed, and we knew what she was going through. And when we explained the whole philanthropic thing, his girlfriend just took a step of just giving her hope in that moment. And it was just so beautiful to see people understanding our three dimensions, and especially the philanthropic, that you can give hope anywhere, everywhere, every day, whoever you see and you spend time with.
And actually, it's really fun because, as being competitively great and a competitively great mindset, we're, are we getting this right? Did we do it? Did we do it? And when we say philanthropic and really be a champion giver, it's like you can challenge yourself to give hope throughout the day and be like, okay, desired outcome is at the gas station, I'm going to give hope. Desired outcome at the grocery store, I'm going to give hope. Desired outcome when I'm doing whatever, I'm going to give hope. And it really trains the brain to look for giving hope and look for opportunities versus just being in our own, system and doing whatever and looking for actually the ones or the twos and paying a lot of attention to them. I really love you being able to be in that moment with the waitress. And of course, it's stressful. Oh my gosh, I can barely take my own order, much less a million people's orders, and, get it right and figure it out. And just the energy exchange that happened when you as a couple decided, let's give her hope. And it doesn't have to be in a tip, it can be in that emotional exchange of really being for each other.
Yes, just it, it was funny. It was not even a tip. It was just saying, "Hey, you're doing such a great job. Thank you for everything." You could see her shoulder
Yeah.
completely drop, and she just smiled. And she was like, "Oh, thank you. I needed that tonight."
Yes. And
So
Rye, that's the other thing. We have no idea what people are going through and what their stories are. And we don't know what that waitress went through before she showed up to be at work and to be competitively great for you. We have no idea what was going on in her personal life. We know she left it and she showed up to work and she did what she needed to do. And you just being there to say, I'm going to give hope, it's just a game changer.
yeah, it is a blessing, Carlette, and the world needs it. So we're just calling everyone to give hope and love.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's do this. Well, team, thank you for being on the journey with us. And Rai, thank you for the gift of sharing your transitional journey with our team and letting them be real time, real conversations. What is this? How do we do it? It's hard, it's rewiring, it's all new. And you are just such a champion at not only doing it yourself, but sharing it with others. And so, thank you so much for the gift that you're giving hope to us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So, team, it's up to you. Go out and win your week. It's all about those 10 moments. What's a 10 for you? Practice our 3D model. Personally, what matters to you? Professionally, go out and win and be competitively great. And philanthropically, be a champion and give hope. So, personally, it's about your well being and really taking care of that person and who you are personally so that you can show up professionally, be competitively great. And throughout the day, you're constantly being a champion giver and giving hope. Go out and give hope to you and our world. Thank you, Rye.